Well, can you unmute yourself? I'm just going to do a mute.
I should be able to, yeah.
Okay. And then you can start whenever you're ready.
Yeah, of course. All right. Think you guys can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Perfect. All right. Well, I'm Mary Trotter. I am a director of business development for Viking Cruises. And let me just go in and share my screen. 1 second. Let me fix something before I hit share so it shows properly for you guys. 1 moment. If we can get this to work properly. All right, try again. Okay. Now, Susan, tell me, do you see a full screen or do you see just like snippets?
We just went to full screen now.
Perfect. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't quite.
Yeah.
It's supposed to go. But let me do one thing because we'll skip it. I have a video, but I forgot to click that we wanted to see the video. Let me see if I can get it to work. One more moment. Share screen.
We have
Okay.
people signing in as you're doing this, so it's fine.
Perfect. All right. All right. Now we're back to that screen, correct?
Yes.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, we'll get started.
Mary, just move your Zoom toolbar because it's on top of it.
Oh, well, why does it do?
I don't know. Usually it doesn't do that, but just move it over.
Yeah, that's very weird.
Move it down maybe to the bottom of the screen or something.
Let's stop and try again. I'm not sure why it's doing that because it won't even let me move it. So let's try one more time.
You have to find a blank spot to move it. Just so you
There we go. Are we good now? No?
I don't know. Something's
okay. Now is it gone?
Yeah, it's just coming in. I think you're okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. So I am Mary Trotter. I am a director of business development for Viking Cruises. And thank you so much for taking part of your day today to learn more about Viking. I don't know has anybody been on a Viking cruise before? I'm not sure if anyone has. But we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to kind of focus on river, but we're going to talk about some of the other products that we have available as well. So we can this for us. So Viking has grown quite a bit over the last few years. We now go to 7 continents, 96 countries, 466 ports, 5 oceans, 20 rivers, and 5 Great Lakes. So we are all over the world. We've added a lot of ships, some new products too, which we'll talk about. But you can truly go all over the world now with Viking. Now, if you are unaware of Viking and kind of what our philosophy is, we aren't everything to everyone. So there's a lot of different cruise lines out there. Some of them are everything to everyone. But we really focus on the English-speaking mature couples that have curious minds or interested in history, culture, geography, and the arts. So that's our primary focus. We are adults only, and where we focus on the destination. So everything we do on board and for all of our tours and everything, it's very focused on the destination. We're highly inclusive. We'll talk about what's included. And really the thing that just makes Viking so amazing is our crew on board. They are incredible. 90% of our staff continue to come back year after year, which is kind of unheard of in the cruise industry. Usually you have some people that kind of hop around, crew members, they'll hop around to other cruise lines, but our crew, they just continue to come back. We do an incredible job of training with our crew. We don't just kind of throw them on board, have them shadow someone for a couple of weeks and then they're on their own. We have an extensive training program that they do before they ever get on board the ship. They spend a couple of months in training and getting ready to serve our clients and our guests. So just an incredible crew. They do such a great job with our guests. And that's no small feat with them, the things that happen with airlines these days. You'll have schedule changes or travel delays, and our crew, they really just make up for all of that stress that you had, that you could possibly have getting to the destination. The crew does such a great job taking care of you once you're on board. So we've been in business for 25 years. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. So if you're getting all of those brochures and flyers in the mail that we like to send a lot, you'll see we've been doing, for several months, anniversary sale. So it's our 25-year anniversary. We started with river cruising and kind of became known as the company that really led the way to river cruising in the US. So we've grown quite a bit. We actually have almost 100 ships now. So we've built almost 100 ships in 25 years, but beautiful vessels, beautiful ships. We always try to get into the heart of the destination. So we get as close as we can. With smaller ships, we're able to make that happen. So most of our ships, our river cruise ships, are 190 guests. Our largest ships would be our ocean ships at 930 guests. And we have 4 different types of products, basically, that we focus on. We have our European river cruise ships, our ocean ships, our Mississippi river cruise ship, and our expedition ships. And we'll talk about each of those and where they go. Now, when you look at our ships, it's all about understated elegance. When you talk about different cruise lines that are out there, you've got your contemporary cruise lines like your Royal Caribbean and your Carnival. Then you move into your premium cruise lines like Celebrity, Holland America. Then you move into those luxury lines like Oceania and Ama and Regent. We fall in that luxury category. You'll see us fall in that luxury category, but in all of our advertisements, in our brochures, we do not use the word luxury. We say traveling in comfort. We say understated elegance, casual elegance. There's a reason behind that. And I didn't fully understand that until a few months ago, because I experienced it kind of myself. I was always kind of told sometimes when you use the word luxury, people get a little nervous and they think, it's not for me. I'm not a luxury person. It can be stuffy. And I experienced that with my own father recently. I was talking to him a few months ago, and I said, hey, Dad, I want to take you on a river cruise. You've never been on a cruise before, and you're not going to get sick. You're not going to get seasick on a river cruise. You're not going to have all that motion and everything. It's just on a river, slow moving. You'll be great. And he goes, I don't get seasick. And I'm like, no, you've never been on a cruise. And he goes, no, it's not because I don't get seasick. And I'm like, well, why have you never been on a cruise? I've worked for cruise lines for several years. And he said, because you keep working for luxury cruise lines, and I'm not a luxury guy. And in his mind, he was going to go on board a Viking ship, and he was going to have butlers, and he was going to have to dress up in a suit for dinner. And it was going to feel a little bit stuffy, and that's just not who he is. He lives in Florida in a retirement community. He wears his shorts, he'll put on a pair of khakis to go to dinner, but that's it for dressing up for him. And I said, you know what, Dad, your khakis, polo shirt, golf shirt, totally fine. So it's all about casual elegance, but that luxury level service. So all about understated elegance, beautiful spacious staterooms. If you'll look at that picture up top, you'll see lots of windows. I'll show you several pictures here just through our ships. You'll see lots of windows. Those are there for a few reasons. First of all, we want you looking out at the destination because we're destination oriented, but we also want to make sure that light is coming in and it doesn't feel dark. A lot of times when you're on a ship, especially a river cruise ship, because it's, a longer, more narrow ship, it will feel a little bit dark, but it doesn't feel that way on a Viking ship. It's lots and lots of windows, lots of light coming in. We just surround you with art, literature, and history. And our main goal on board is when you come back to the ship, it is your home away from home. We want it to be quiet and comfortable. We want you to be able to relax. So even our dining is going to be destination focused. So we always locally source our ingredients so we can give you those authentic dishes from the area. So, even if you're in a specific region, maybe you're in France, you're in Germany, we'll do a Taste of Germany event once during your cruise where you'll have like a whole sampler, kind of a sampler platter of all of the foods from that, food and drink from that region. It's always a fun night when we do those. Now, if you're a little unsure about the local cuisine, we always have some American classics that are always available. So when you look at your menu, There's one space that says always available American classics, and then you've got like your menu for the evening that you can choose from. With the American classics, don't be shy. You can order them. Maybe you were not really sure about the food of the region. This has happened to me before. I grew up in Southern Indiana where there were lots of German restaurants, never really loved German food, and went over to Germany several months ago and thought, well, maybe it'll be different in Germany. And I did like some things, but there were some things I definitely still didn't care for even in Germany, but I tried them. So there was at least one night that I kind of leaned back on the always available American classics. So the things that are always available at dinner, there is always a steak available at dinner for you. There's always a roast chicken. And then no matter where you are in the world, you always have Norwegian salmon available. Even when we're in Alaska, we serve Norwegian salmon. So you always have those three options. So you can always try something from the area and like, I love it. It's great. This is wonderful. Or you can say, you know what, can I get that Norwegian salmon? That looks really good. So feel free to do that if you would like. Now, what is included in a Viking cruise? So you have one shore excursion in each port of call. So it is typically a city tour. It gives you a really great overview of what is at that port. If you think about the rivers, before there were cars, before there were planes, before there were trains, you had the rivers. And so you had the cities were all built around the rivers. So when you're on a river cruise, you are right in the heart of the destination most of the time. So a lot of times your tour may start right outside the ship and you'll go right into the city and do a great little tour. Sometimes you do have to take a motor coach in to where your included tour is. So it's one set tour. We do have optional tours at an additional cost that you can always do as well, but you do have that one shore excursion that is included. And then you have all of your onboard meals that are included. So that's going to be at all of our dining venues. So multiple dining venues to choose from. We have open seating. So that's going to be included. We have wine, beer, and soft drinks available and included at lunch and at dinner. Now, if you want to have a cocktail or you want to have wine or a beer before dinner or after dinner, another time of the day, you have a few options. You can add that drink onto your shipboard account and just pay for that out of your shipboard account. Or we have an option that is an unlimited beverage package. It's called the Silver Spirits Beverage Package. It is only $25 per person per night. So on a 7-day long cruise, you're looking at $175 and per person, and that gives you unlimited beverages. So that's a really reasonable price to have unlimited drinks. So a lot of people do add that on, but you know what? You're out in the destination all day. So many people are just fine with the wine, beer, and soft drinks at lunch and dinner. And maybe they'll grab a cocktail in the evening and just, put that on their account. So totally up to you, but that is an option. Another thing that we focus on is we want to make sure that you are trying the drink and the wine of the area of the region that we're in. So we have a lot of winery tours. You go to some different wine bars and things. If you stop at a winery or you stop in a little wine shop and you want to pick up some local wine and bring it back on board, you absolutely can. You'll just bring that back on board. You can feel free to have that wine, of course, in your stateroom, but you can have it at dinner. You can have it at lunch. You can have it in the bars or the lounges. We don't charge any kind of corkage fees to have your own wine. If you'd like, we want you to experience that wine of the local area. So, I always say the question that we're going to ask whenever you come on with that wine is, how many glasses do you need? That's another little tip I want to give you. If you do pick up some wine while on board, you may want to sit by yourself if you want to enjoy that wine, because often, people get a little jealous if you have a really great bottle of wine and you have it all to yourself. So you may want to bring extra bottles of wine for the people that you're sitting with at your table, but definitely you can experience that. No corkage fee or anything for that. So we do have our specialty coffees and teas. We have some stations to get specialty coffees and teas that are open 24 hours a day. And those are also going to be included. Now you have bottled water that is replenished in your room every day. And I know that seems like a silly thing to talk about, but that is a big deal. I have been, well, a couple of things. If you've stayed in a hotel before, just a regular hotel, not like an all-inclusive, all of a sudden in the middle of the night, you get a little thirsty and you're like, oh, I wish I had bottled water. So, you know, it's always nice to have it there. I have been on cruises before for conferences and things. I was on one at the end of last year that I've gotten very spoiled. I'm very used to there always being some bottled water either sitting on the counter or it's in the little refrigerator. And I had purchased a very expensive bottle of water that was in the refrigerator when I arrived at another cruise line. And I drank it within the first day. And then I got to about day 3 and I was like, man, I'm getting really thirsty at night. And I'm starting to get a little bit of a headache. And I realized I'm so used to having bottled water in my room. And I just, you know, drink it throughout the day. And I drink it at night before I go to bed and when I get up in the morning. So having that there is really nice. We also make sure you're very hydrated as you go out on your tours. We always hand you some bottled water as you head out to your tour. We hand you some when you come back on board. So we want to make sure that you're staying hydrated. And then we have free Wi-Fi available. We're using the Starlink system now. We've upgraded our Wi-Fi. So pretty good Wi-Fi throughout our cruises. Some of our cruises do have overnight stays included. So they're a cruise tour. So we use first class hotels for those. We also have movies on demand, CNBC, CNN, and Fox. That's all there and available for you. And then all of your port charges and taxes are included. So if you see a price in a brochure, you get a quote, you see a price online, something like that, that price is a total with your taxes included. A lot of cruise lines that are out there, sometimes they will add, they'll give you a price and they're like, plus taxes. So our taxes are all going to be included. So lots of great inclusions. One thing I do get asked about a lot when I talk about the inclusions, there is one thing we do not include. We do not include the gratuities. So you can prepay your gratuities or you can just, you know, do it once you get on board. Totally up to you, but that is one thing that is not included. So I always get that question. So let's talk about our river cruise ships first, because this is where we started back 25 years ago. So we have about 80 ships doing the European rivers now. Most of them look just like this ship, and our ships are identical. So when we say welcome home, we truly mean that because the ship looks exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the name on the outside of the ship. So 190 guests on board. There are 4 decks, 95 staterooms. One thing to note is at the front of the ship, you see that aquavit terrace. We have rounded out the front of our long ships. So that makes them look a little bit different than some other European river cruise ships that some other cruise lines have. And that's created an alfresco dining area there for us. So it gave us some more space, some more public space on board. One thing to note as far as the staterooms, and I had a hotel manager when I was on board last October tell me, I asked him, what would you want me to say when I'm speaking to our guests, doing cruise nights, doing presentations? What is the one thing that you feel like they aren't hearing and that you feel like is important? And he asked us to always mention this. Those little windows that you see down at the bottom, right above the water, towards the back half, those are our standard staterooms. So they're the little bit bigger windows, and then there's like some little tiny windows on each side. The front half are like crew quarters, but the back half, those are our standard staterooms. That's deck 1. Now, what he wanted me to make sure I said is if you look at the ship is very narrow. And so we are using every bit of available space that we can on board. We go through many, many locks and canals through Europe. And so we have to keep the ship very narrow. Because of that, you know, we don't have a lot of space for things like elevators. So if you'll look right above those windows in the middle, there are 2 windows. There's like a couple little larger balconies and then 2 windows right next to it. That is that is going to be, actually, let me just show you here, right here. That is our elevator. So that is going to be, oh, I went too far. That is going to be our elevators on board. They are very small and they are only between deck 2 and deck 3. So they are small elevators. One thing about river cruising, it is in Europe. Europe is not great for mobility accessibility. So if you struggle and you need to use a wheelchair or a scooter, keep in mind lots of cobblestone streets and stairs and things. Europe is a much older country than we are. So, you know, it's not set up for that ADA compliance. That's American Disabilities Act, not Europe. So keep that in mind. It can be difficult in a wheelchair or scooter. Now, once you're on board, your wheelchair or scooter, we don't have a lot of space, so they do have to fold down and they have to stay in your stateroom. So those little elevators we have there, they pretty much just fit a small scooter. You can't turn it around. They're very small elevators. They only go between deck 2 and deck 3. What that means is if you book a standard stateroom, it's down on deck 1. You do have to take the stairs down to deck 1. Typically not a problem with those people that maybe have a small scooter or a foldable wheelchair, but we do have guests that have been walking around Europe all day. They walk down the few stairs, not a lot of stairs, maybe 14 or 15 stairs. They'll walk down the stairs to their stateroom. They've walked all day and now they're like, ugh, I gotta go back up the stairs to get to dinner or to get to the lounge. So just keep in mind, if you are in a standard stateroom, you will have to take stairs to your stateroom and back up from your stateroom. Usually the loading and unloading of the ship is on deck 2 or deck 3 as well. So just wanted to let you know that, keep it in mind. So this is our main dining restaurant. It is actually called The Restaurant. That is the name of our main dining restaurant for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on all of our ships, on river, on ocean, on expedition, on Mississippi. It's always called The Restaurant. It's just, I think it's brilliant. It causes no confusion about where you're going to go eat your main meal. So this breakfast, lunch, and dinner here, open seating. You can sit wherever you'd like with whoever you'd like. We do have some larger tables towards the middle of the room, so the dining room. So if you have a larger party, you can certainly get a larger table. If you want to just sit 2 of you, we can make some of those tables, tables for 2 as well. So that's where you're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There is the Viking bar and the Viking lounge. So this is up on deck 3. This is where we do all of our port talks. We do those right before dinner. So you'll come up here and find out about that. Now, if you don't want to go to the port talk before dinner, we do show it on the TV. We have a camera that's showing our program director talking about that. So you can watch it on your TV in your stateroom as well. If you want to take like a little rest before dinner and you don't want to go to the lounge before dinner, you certainly can do that. Then after dinner, this is where we do our evening entertainment. We always have someone who's playing the piano and singing. At least once during the cruise, we'll bring on some regional entertainment to do some type of destination performance. It could be musicians or singers or dancers. We do have a dance floor, so a lot of people do like to get up and dance. And then we always do like a fun team activity at least once during the cruise, maybe a trivia, music trivia, something like that. So this is where all the entertainment happens in the evening. And then this is that Aquavit Terrace, that area I talked about on the front of the ship that's kind of rounded out. This is alfresco dining area, breakfast, lunch, and dinner here. Also, it is the same menu that you have in the restaurant. So if you choose to eat out on the Aquavit Terrace and you want to see the sunset or have that fresh air, you can. You're not going to be missing something by not eating in the main dining restaurant. Our menu does change every day. So you're not looking at the same thing every day to choose from. The only thing that's ever going to stay the same are those 3 American classics I talked to you about. We also do a late risers breakfast in Aquavit Terrace as well. So that's what you're kind of seeing on the table there. That looks like the late risers breakfast. We do have a library on board. So if you happen to find time, I don't know who finds time because you're busy. I feel like you're busy every day on a river cruise. But you can always borrow a book or a game from the library and use those throughout your cruise. And then this is our sun deck. So this is deck 4. This is the top deck. We do have a walking or jogging track. We have a couple of shuffleboard courts and we grow our own herbs up in our organic herb garden up here. Now, we stay in port all day long. So it is often quite empty during the day up on the sun deck. Because we're in port, we want you to experience the port that we're in as long as you can. We typically stay until at least dinner time, which is around 7 o'clock. So we'll stay until dinner time and then we'll head out. Now, there are some spots where there's some really great nightlife. So say you're on the Rhine getaway, you're in Cologne, Germany. They have a lot of great little bars and nightclubs that we want you to experience after dinner. So on evenings that we're in those areas where there's a lot of nighttime things that you can do, we'll stay in port until 11 or 12 o'clock so you can experience that. So we do most of our traveling at night. So the sun deck doesn't see a lot of use because people are in town experiencing the city. But what we do, because people get worried, am I missing things? What am I missing when we're traveling? Well, I will tell you, what you're missing most of the time are a bunch of locks that we're going through. We go through a lot of locks in the evening. It is funny that first night that you go through a lock, everybody comes up to the sun deck or they'll go up to the Aquavit Terrace and they watch us go through that first lock. And then the novelty is over. They've seen the first lock and they're like, oh, that's how it works. And then everybody just, goes about their evening, the other evenings. Now, there are some areas of the rivers that are beautiful that we don't want you to miss. They're very scenic. So for instance, on the Rhine getaway, that's our cruise along the Rhine River. There's an area along the middle Rhine where there are just castles after castle after castle. We don't want you to miss it. So what we do is that's built into the itinerary that we're going to travel during the day. So we delay a little bit, start traveling a little bit later into the evening. So we hit that middle Rhine area in the morning. It'll be in your daily newsletter that tells you, what's coming up the next day. It'll tell you what time everybody's going to come up to the sun deck. Everyone sits up in that sun deck. The program director will tell you about all the beautiful castles that we are passing. So you're not going to miss those really scenic areas. Now, this is that deck 1 stateroom. This is the standard stateroom. You'll see it has just a couple, a small window there. It's got like a little ledge. The beds, this does get asked, the beds can be together or they can be pulled apart to create 2 twin beds. So this is the standard stateroom. This is where we start deck 1. Then we move up deck 2 and deck 3. We have the French balcony stateroom. This has a sliding glass door that opens, but then you can't actually step out onto a balcony. It's just a railing. So it's open the door, stand at the railing situation. So it does give you a lot of, fresh air and things if you want that, but you can't actually step out onto the balcony. Now, if you want a full step out veranda or balcony, you would need to book the veranda stateroom. That's got your table and 2 chairs out there on the veranda and it juts out. So that would be your option if you want a full veranda. And then this is our veranda suite. This has a full balcony or veranda off of the sitting room area. And then you have over in the bedroom area a French balcony where you've got that sliding glass door that opens but doesn't go anywhere. One thing to mention about all of our bathrooms on board our ships, whether it's river, ocean, expedition, Mississippi, no matter what river cruise, no matter what ship you're on with Viking, we have heated floors in the bathroom. Sometimes you're traveling when it's a little bit cooler outside, and there's nothing worse than getting onto a very cold floor after you take a shower. So we do have heated floors that you can turn on if you would like. So we do have one more suite level above this one on our river cruises. It's called an Explorer Suite. It has a full living room, bedroom, a really large bathroom. There's only 2 on board every river cruise ship. So that one's almost double the size of the veranda suite. So a beautiful big balcony off of that one as well. So those are your rooms, your staterooms on board. So I wanted to talk to you about our 2 most popular river cruises and the one that's kind of brand new that you might be interested in. So our most popular itinerary is going to be the Rhine getaway. This one is Amsterdam to Basel, Switzerland, or it can be Basel, Switzerland to Amsterdam. It goes in both directions. We start doing this itinerary in mid-March. So we've been doing this one for a couple months now. for the season. So mid-March, and we go until November. Then November, it changes to Christmas on the Rhine. So it's almost the same exact itinerary when we go to Christmas on the Rhine. But the Rhine getaway, we do this one starting mid-March. Every single day, we have a ship that leaves from Amsterdam and a ship that leaves from Basel. And then they head to the opposite direction. So most popular itinerary that we have, absolutely beautiful, takes you all along the Rhine. It takes you to some quaint little cities throughout Germany, takes you to Strasbourg, France, just a beautiful little picturesque place right across the river over in France. So just a really, really great itinerary to choose from. And then we have our second most popular would be the romantic Danube. So this one's going to take you along the Danube River. This one does Budapest to Regensburg, Germany, or you can go Regensburg, Germany to Budapest. This one, again, 8 days, it's a week long. And it is, this one starts in April, typically. So we start this one in April, and we go until November, then it changes to Christmas on the Danube. So this one gives you some more time in some cities. So we're going to some bigger cities like Budapest and Vienna, and we want to make sure you have plenty of time there. So we spend 2 days in those destinations, in those ports, and in Regensburg, Germany, great quaint little city there in Germany. Actually has the oldest sausage kitchen in Germany is in Regensburg, Germany. So this a really great itinerary if you're wanting to see some of those bigger cities and go along the Danube. Absolutely gorgeous. Again, a ship almost every day leaves from Budapest and one leaves from Regensburg. So that is the Danube, just a really, really great one there. And then I wanted to mention this one because there is some great pricing on this one. It's something brand new. It just came out just a few weeks ago. It's called Treasures of the Rhine. So let me tell you a little something about river cruising. Most cruise lines do not cruise January and February. A lot of things, there are several things that are closed in your typical cities for river cruising in January and February. So most of them start March and then they go through Christmas for the Christmas markets. And then they take a couple months off. So we are trying this year because we have so many people that ask us, why are you not traveling in January and February? So this is something new that we're doing for January and February of 2024. So this just came out. It is almost the same itinerary as the Rhine Getaway, our most popular itinerary, but it's a little bit longer. We've added some different cities. It gives you a couple more tours. So you get 2 more days, 2 more tours. You're still visiting 4 countries. So it's still Amsterdam to Basel or Basel to Amsterdam. But this one is going to give you, you've got 2 days in Amsterdam, whereas before you only had just the 1 day. You're going to go Arnhem, Netherlands. That's something that's different. Typically, we go to Kenderdijk, but the windmills, everything is kind of closed during those winter months. So we're doing some different spots that have some scenic things, some tourist things to do, some things to see, because we don't want to take you someplace where there's nothing to do. So we've taken out Kenderdijk. We've added in Arnhem, Netherlands, Cologne, Germany. We do that one on the Rhine Getaway, just a great city there. Love that. Love Cologne, Germany. Then you go along the middle Rhine and do that scenic sailing. And then you go to Mainz, Germany. I have been there. Lots of great shopping. Great little spot. That's something that is different than our Rhine Getaway. Then you go to Heidelberg and Speyer, Germany. So what you're not doing is this one takes you to Heidelberg and Speyer. On the Rhine Getaway, you go to Speyer, but you don't go to Heidelberg. But you're losing a city called Rudesheim. It's a tiny, tiny little city, only open during season. So that's where we're going to Heidelberg. So lots of great things to see there. Then Strasbourg, France. You're going to go to Breisach, Germany. That's where the Black Forest is. And then Basel, Switzerland. This is a really great itinerary to see during those winter months. You're going to have the snow and everything. So a very different feel, a few different stops, and incredible pricing on this itinerary. So if you're looking for something where you're really trying to maximize the amount of money you're using, trying to get a really great value, and you don't mind going when it's cold outside, this is just an incredible itinerary, brand new, January and February. So there's still quite a bit of space left because it just came out in the last couple of weeks. So really great itinerary for the Rhine in the wintertime. And then moving on to our ocean ships. So our ocean ships, 930 guests on board. We currently have 9 ships sailing, a few more on the way. So these are considered a small class ship. We've won several awards over the last couple of years. We've been winning awards for many years for our river cruises, but our ocean cruises have really started winning a lot of awards. We just started sailing in 2015 and have just progressed quite a bit over the last several years, but beautiful ships. When we talk about our ocean ships, we say what we are not. So if you remember at the beginning, I said we are not everything to everyone. So this is a list of things that we don't do, and it's a positive thing. This is basically, we want to show you, we don't want to nickel and dime you to death. So this just goes to show you some of the things that we don't do. So first of all, we don't have casinos on board. And I know that's a big deal to some people, but we're destination oriented. So often when you have people go on a cruise, they love casinos and they'll be in that casino every time it's open, and they may never get off the ship when there's a casino on board. They're just there for when the casino's open. I have been on cruises with casinos, and I've talked to people, hey, did you see that beautiful port today? And they're like, no, I didn't. I'm not getting off the ship. I'm here to be at the casino. So we don't put casinos on board because we want people to see the destination. So my suggestion is always reach out to your amazing travel advisor, Susan, and she will help you find an itinerary that maybe has a couple of casinos in destination, and you'll be able to get off the ship, go through the town to get to a casino. So you'll still get to see one. The iconic Western Med itinerary takes you to Monte Carlo. So great place to go to a casino. So she can help you find one. You're just gonna not have it on board the ship. Then also we have no children, of course, under 18. We mentioned that before. No umbrella drinks. That doesn't mean that we don't have fun, fruity drinks. You can still get your fun, fruity drink. We're just not gonna put an umbrella in it and push you to get the drink of the day. We don't have like the big drink of the day with the umbrella in it. So we do have, all the drinks though that you would want. No photography sales. We're not going to push you to take a picture at dinner. We're not going to be doing that on board. We don't charge for our alternative restaurants. So we have several dining options on our ocean cruises, a couple of alternative specialty restaurants. We don't charge for those. No charge for the use of laundrettes. So on our ocean ships, some of our ocean cruises can get very long. We even have world cruises and world voyages up to 180 days. So for some of our cruises, if you're 17, 18 days on board, you might need to do some laundry. So we do have washers and dryers on every deck, and we have laundry detergent right there for you. You can use those anytime you'd like. Those are complimentary for you to use if you'd like to. In our spa area, we have a great spa circuit with thermal pools, with plunge pools, your sauna, your steam room. You do not have to book a spa treatment to use that spa area. You don't need to book like, a weekly pass to use that area. You can go and use those spa areas anytime you would like. And that brings us to no spa sales pressure. We're not going to push you to go and get a spa treatment. That's totally up to you if you want to do one. No inside staterooms. So all verandas on our ocean ships. And then, no waiting in lines. And this is a big one for my dad. No formal nights, no butlers or white gloves. So you can leave the tux at home, leave the suits at home, dress shirt, khaki pants, totally fine for dinner. And then here's just some shots of some spaces on board our ocean ships. So this is the living room. This is where people just like to sit and relax. It's right off of our atrium area, lots of couches and comfy chairs. This is our 3-deck atrium. We have up at the top of the stairs there, that picture, every afternoon, we do something called the Munch Moments. We have the digital arts collection. We have the rights to the digital collection for Edward Munch. He is a famous painter an artist from Oslo, Norway. Our founder, our chairman, is from Norway. So this is an artist that he really loves. And so we got all the digital rights to all of his works of art. And every afternoon, we change that picture out to a rotation of his works of art that kind of correspond with the whatever destination we're in. And we'll have a violin player and a piano player down there at the bottom of the stairs. It's just a really nice moment, again, surrounding you with that art and the culture and everything. So here's our Explorers Lounge, and one of our bar areas. It's a 2-story lounge, lots and lots of windows, lots of great views here in the Explorers Lounge. Here's Winter Garden. We'll do an afternoon tea here in Winter Garden. And then our main pool, it does have a retractable roof. So if there's inclement weather, we can close that up so that you can still use the pool. So that's our main pool, and there it is open. Looks completely different when it's open. We'll do movies out by the pool in the evening as well. And then here's our infinity pool on board. So yet another really great pool option for you. One thing that you do not see on our ocean ships is you don't see go-kart tracks and you don't see water slides and roller coasters. It's all about relaxation and being comfortable and the destination. So just some pools and some nice places to sit and relax. And then here's that spa area. Again, this is included, so you can go and use these anytime you would like. I have never heard anyone say that it is too busy for them to get into the spa area. This is something I've asked multiple people because I don't want to go just by my experience, because my experience could be different than somebody else. But everyone I've ever talked to, they have never had a problem getting into the spa or feeling like it was crowded. People have lots of things that they can do on board, and it's not, they're not all trying to cram themselves into the spa. So lots of space for you. Here is the steam room area, whirlpool area, and then a snow grotto. That's all part of the circuit while you're on board. Now, here's our 8 dining options. We do have the main dining restaurant, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, called the restaurant, of course. Manfredi's is an Italian restaurant that's available for dinner. That is a specialty restaurant, and it is included. We have the Momsen's Norwegian Deli, breakfast, lunch, and dinner here, and then a late night snack. This is based on our chairman's mother's recipes. So quaint little great restaurant there on board. Winter Garden, of course, for afternoon tea. The chef's table is a food and wine pairing. It has a couple of seatings, again, a specialty restaurant that's included. And it's a specially crafted menu by our chef, and we pair that with several different wines. And then we have our World Cafe and Aquavit Terrace. That is going to be our buffet area and our outdoor seating area. Another great option for you, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Cool grill, of course, your burgers, your hot dogs, all of those great things. And then 24-hour room service. So if you want to have a full breakfast in your room, you can. Again, no charge. If you are tired and you want to have a full dinner in your room and have it out on your balcony, you absolutely can. Not a problem at all. So this is the worst case scenario stateroom here. Our deluxe veranda at 270 square feet does have a full balcony, lots of space in your stateroom. Now, one thing to note, just some extra little touches, of course, the heated floors in the bathroom that I talked about, but that little desk that you see there, that's where we often get ready, ladies. And that little desk, it lifts up and it has a lighted mirror. So you can get ready and have good lighting for your makeup. So great stateroom there. It goes all the way up to, we have all the way up to an owner suite at 1,449 square feet with a full conference room. Our maximum occupancy in all of our staterooms is 2 people. So even with that really large owner suite, it's still only a maximum occupancy of 2 people. That's how we keep the occupancy so low on our ships. I have been on a ship that is a similar size to our ship, and it had 2,500 people on it versus our 930. So never feels crowded or busy on our ships. Lots of great entertainment, lots of great lectures. We have resident historians on board. So much to do on board our ocean ships. And then, of course, taking you to just beautiful destinations. A couple of different itineraries. So we do, the Panama Canal, and we do your typical you know, iconic Western Med, doing Rome and Barcelona. But this is one that is a little bit different. This is a 10-day cruise. It's Venice to Athens. So this one is going to take you, start you in Venice. You're going to go into Croatia. You're going to go all through Greece. Really, really great itinerary for 10 days, something a little bit different there, Venice to Athens. And then I wanted to mention, we do Alaska. So this is our Alaskan Inside Passage cruise. We do this, of course, in the summer months. This one is 11 days, Vancouver to Seward, Alaska. So it takes you all along the Inside Passage. I wanted to mention this one because people they don't think we do Alaska, but we do. We actually truly go all over the world. Like I said, if you want to do Panama Canal, if you want to go to San Juan and visit some of the Caribbean islands, you can. We go to Hawaii, Australia, New Zealand, Asia, the Eastern Seaboard. So we do a lot. We have a lot of options for you as far as itineraries. As I mentioned before, we have world cruises. We have a world cruise that's 140 days. We have a world voyage that's 180 days. So lots of options. Our shortest cruise would be 8 days long. Our longest on ocean would be the 180 days. So lots of options for you. You can truly go all over the world. So lots of great options on ocean. And then just to mention our expedition ships, this is our Viking Octantis or Polaris. So we started these two ships in 2022. The Octantis came to us last January in 2022, and then the Polaris joined this last October. So these are polar class ships. They can go places like Antarctica and the Arctic, and 378 guests on board. So it's about a little over a third of the size of our ocean ships, but beautiful, sleek ship. It is not what Expedition was 10, 15 years ago. It is just a beautiful, luxurious ship. Expedition is all about traveling to explore and to learn and to understand. And we bring expedition guides on board that focus on geography, on botany, zoology, photography. And it's all about learning about, you know, the world that's around us, going into places you can't typically get to on a cruise, but you can do it on an expedition cruise. So here are some of our scientific and academic partnerships. We partner with the University of Cambridge. They bring on a couple of science students for an internship. They'll stay on for 6 months at a time. They work in our science lab. We're doing lots of soil samples and plant samples. And we just put out our first scientific paper. So you can go and spend time with them in the science lab and see what we're studying, what soil samples we're looking at, what we're looking at for our plant samples. Really great partnership there. And then the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, we are one of just over 100 spots throughout the U.S. That we are doing these weather balloon experiments, this atmospheric weather experiment. We use weather balloons to check and see what's happening in our atmosphere. You're all a part of that. So you get to be part of that launching of the balloons and seeing what's happening with the weather. So here's that science lab on board. Again, you can spend time in there with our science students seeing what we are studying. Here's some spots on board, the Expedition Central up there on the left. That is where all of our expedition guides hang out. There's actually several little tables like that throughout Expedition Central with different areas of expertise. There's even a little photography area to learn more about photography and how to photo wildlife. Finza Terrace, great little outdoor area with some little fire pits there. Now our deluxe stateroom, none of our, we cannot do a full step out balcony on the ship because of the canals and things that we're going through. So we've created these Nordic balconies. So the window you see there, it's a floor to ceiling window. The top of it lowers down to create a railing or a Nordic balcony. So it's not something you can step out on. So it's much like that French balcony on the river cruises where open, but it opens from the top. So you created kind of this little veranda balcony area just inside your window. And then we have Aula is our great little theater there. That is where we do talk about things that we are studying, where we're headed the next day. We do lectures and things here in Aula Theater. Here's our equipment we have on board. We do use Pro Zodiacs, military Pro Zodiacs for all of our landings in Antarctica. Those are included, of course. We have our 2-seater kayaks. Those are also included. We do some tours in the afternoon on our kayaks. The 2 6-seater submarines. So we have 2 of these on board. These are an additional cost, and they are basically like an excursion. So it's actually pretty reasonable compared to some other cruise lines that have expedition that do the subs. It's a pretty reasonable price for those. But those you'll go down in the sub. Keep in mind, we do have to weigh you before you get in the sub. We got to make sure that the weight is balanced. So you can certainly go into the subs. Really great opportunity. One thing to keep in mind, we go to Antarctica and the Great Lakes currently on these cruises. On many of our itineraries to the Great Lakes, we cannot use the submarines. Many of our itineraries go to Canada, and Canada will not let us use our submarines there. So the submarines are not going to be available on some itineraries in the Great Lakes. In the Antarctica, they're always available for a tour excursion. Now, we also have our 2 12-seater convertible special operation boats. This is it right there on that conveyor belt. You actually load these boats while in the hangar of the ship. Really cool boats. Maybe you don't want to go and do landings during the day. It makes you nervous. You can certainly go on this conveyor belt on the special operation boat. Question? Oh, no, we're good. So also, this is it right here for our little conveyor belt. That's how you go up, onto the ship and off the ship with that boat. And then we have some other pictures of just the ship itself. Beautiful area. And then that is our Antarctic itinerary, 13 days. That's what we do during the Antarctic summer from October to March. And then we transition over to the Great Lakes. And in the Great Lakes, we actually visit all 5 Great Lakes. This is one of several itineraries. So Great Lakes and Antarctica currently, but we have just added some itineraries to the Arctic in 2025. So you can see the polar bears. So if that's something you want to do, you can definitely work with Susan on seeing that. And then just to mention quickly, the Viking Mississippi, beautiful ship, 378 guests, 386 guests on board, taking you all along the Mississippi River, taking these small little towns and visiting some really great places throughout the Mississippi. There's some spaces on board, Explorers Lounge, the Aquavit Terrace, of course, we have on every ship, that alfresco dining area, and we do have an infinity plunge pool on board. All of our staterooms are going to be French balconies or verandas on the Mississippi, so a few options there. And then just 2 honorable mentions. I wanted to make sure I mentioned these because I sometimes forget to mention them, but I want to make sure I tell you about our Egypt River Cruises. So this is the Viking Osiris. She is the 3rd ship to go on our Egypt River Cruises. This is a round trip Cairo trip. So you spend a few days in Cairo, fly over to Luxor and spend some days on the Nile and then back to Cairo. 82 guests on board. Our first 2 ships look a little bit different than this one because they were not specifically built for Vikings. So one of our ships only holds 56 people. We have another Egypt ship coming by the end of the year, the Aton, and 1 more on the way in 2025. So we'll have 5 ships in Egypt, but these are very popular. They sell out very quickly. But the Viking Egypt River Cruises, and then our Mekong River Cruises. This is the Viking Saigon, brand new ship. We have a couple of ships now doing the Mekong River. It's a 2-week-long cruise taking you to Vietnam and Cambodia. So let's open it up for questions. I know that was a lot of information, but let's see what questions everybody might have.
That was awesome, Mary. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? No? I have one question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I've got a question regarding singles. It said it's for couples. What is the upcharge if you're not a couple? For example, I'm a widower. How does that work? Do I pay for the entire stateroom, or is there a smaller upcharge than that?
Yeah, typically you pay for the entire stateroom as though it was 2. Sometimes we do have some itineraries where it's a little bit less, but it's not a huge break. It's like 175%. But it sometimes we see that, not very often, but yeah, it is kind of a bummer when you're a widow or widower. It does make it difficult.
Thank you.
I have a question on the river cruises because they go
Yeah.
from one direction to the other. And
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if it makes a difference which direction you're going in.
You know, it really, yeah, it really doesn't. Basically the reason we do that, there is a reason behind that, why we go in two different directions. So as I mentioned, we have about 80 ships that are on the European rivers. And the reason we leave almost every day and one from each end on the Rhine and the Danube is that sometimes there can be, it's rare. I think the statistic is 2 to 3% of people can be affected by this. It's like 2% can be affected with low water or high water on the rivers. So if the water gets too low and we can't continue down, I mean, they do a great job with the locks regulating, but if there's a drought, which happened last summer, there was a drought, we were not able to continue down the river. We only need 20 inches of water to continue down the river. So that means there was really hardly any water left in the river. So what happens is when we hit an area that it is dry, we will have you pack up your things. You'll go out and do your excursion for the day. They'll put you on a bus and then take you down the river just a little ways to where there's enough water to sail again. And you will get on a ship, and that ship will have a different name on the outside because it is a completely different ship, but you would never know except for the name and the fact that the crew has changed. The program director moves with you, the crew does not. So you're now on a new ship. So it's called a ship swap. So basically those ships are headed towards each other. If that situation arises, we just move your things. You're in the exact same stateroom. You'll go to that same stateroom. Your luggage will be there. And basically the ship turns around. So you've got the ships headed towards each other. While you're out on your excursion, they get themselves turned around, and then you continue down the river and continue your cruise. So yeah, so that's why they leave one from each end on the same day. Yeah, they're sister ships. They are literally called the one that leaves from Basel and the one that leaves from Amsterdam. They're sister ships just for that reason. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Let's see. I don't think there's anything else.
Okay.
I'm not seeing anybody. If you do have a question, unmute and speak now or forever hold your tongue.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any sales or specials up?
You know, there are some great pricing on river cruising right now. Some of our longer river cruises, like the Grand European Tour, have some free air. We have incredible air. I didn't even speak about that, but we have an incredible air program with really inexpensive airfare. Air to Europe can get really pricey right now. Just air in general can get pricey. But we do some reduced rates on air. So for river right now, we have some great reduced cruise fares. We have on like the Grand European Tour, which combines the Rhine and the Danube, we have free airfare. So lots of great offers there. And then on some of our Mediterranean ocean cruises, we do have some free air with some of those as well. So also, most importantly, $25 per person deposits right now.
Wow.
So if you are ready to book, all you have to put down is $25 per person.
Very good. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Mary.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It was an
Yeah.
exciting presentation, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And of course, you want to make sure you book with Susan because she's amazing. She knows the product and she's going to take really, really good care of you. Going to Viking directly is not going to get you a better price. You're going to see the same pricing, if not better, through Susan, because often our travel advisors have promotions, access to promotions that our regular sales team doesn't have promotions for. So make sure you book with Susan because she really can get you the best offer that's out there.
Awesome. That I agree with 100%. Okay. All right, guys.
He's the best.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for
Thank
coming,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.